was also a precinct executive, even while he was president. One time, the press corps followed him out to Missouri, I think that's where he was from, and he went into a meeting, and when he came out, they said, what was he doing in there? What was that all about? He said, well, I was just attending my county central committee meeting. I'm a precinct executive. He called it the highest office in the land, and that's where I got the term from him. Because they decide who everybody's going to be. The precinct exec decides who the county chairman is going to be, who the executive committee is going to be. They endorse all the candidates. The endorsed candidates win they win the primary. They win the primary, they win the general election. They go to the state legislature, the national legislature, every other office, school boards, county commissions, everything else. But as long as the news media never talks about it, including our own, which really bugs me. I've been writing those people for decades, and apparently they either don't read their email, or maybe they're friends with the Royals. I don't know. It's really sad. Any other questions on that? Or? Yes?
So if Republicans win the House, then how do they determine who the Speaker is going to be?
Well, it's up to each, somebody will nominate, like let's say this was Congress right here, someone will not stand up and say, I nominate Jim, I nominate Judy, and then they would just have a vote. But there's a lot of traditions and things, and they'll have like a leadership, the people that have been there the longest and that sort of thing. Well, that's got to go. If we have a majority, let's say we elect a majority in Congress, and 51% of the people here are Tea Partiers, we can just say, the heck with your seniority, the heck with all those little rules you've been made up to preserve your fiefdom. Hey, we're going to vote our guy for Speaker, and they get 50% plus one. We get the Speaker. It's just that simple.
Because the Speaker sets the agenda.
The Speaker, I've heard her, wherever she was, come out of her own mouth the day she was handed that gavel. She was just gloating. She said, I have the gavel and I have the calendar. And she knew exactly what that meant. Now, probably nobody who was listening to her knew what she was talking about, because they don't teach this stuff. But that calendar is all important, because the calendar tells them, she makes up the calendar. On Monday we're going to vote on this bill. Tuesday we're going to vote on that bill, and they just go straight down the line. And with the gavel, she decides who can speak and when, who has the floor, and all the rest. It's basically, see, if you read Article 1, Section 1, Paragraph 1, Sentence 1, Word 1 of the Constitution, if you have your pocket constitutions, you can get that on. Article 1, Section 1, Paragraph 1, Sentence 1, Word 1. It says all legislative power herein granted is vested in a Congress. President doesn't have any of it. If Congress has all of it, President has none of it. If Congress has all of it, the Supreme Court has none of it. Now, they've been telling us, for the last 100 years at least, that that's not right, but that's exactly what the Constitution says. So, Congress is our king. Not the President, not the Supreme Court. And Congress is our king, and the Speaker is the king of the king. The Speaker speaks for the king, if you want to think of it that way. There is no balance of power. Congress has all the power. They keep telling us all the time, well, we got this balance of powers between the executive, legislature, and judiciary. Any day they felt like that Congress could shut down the executive branch, shut down the judiciary, just all they got to do is stop writing them checks. All the money comes from Congress, all of it. But this is how we do it. We control the precincts, we control County Central Committee, State Central Committee, then we control the state legislatures and national legislatures. We get the speaker, and then we send all the rest of those folks home. Tell them to get a real job, yeah.
Where do independents fit in this scheme?
Independents don't really exist. Because
then nobody is the individual person anymore, and they don't have a free speech.
Well,
unless you start looking at independence.
Well, independence, each of us are independent. Each of us have our own thoughts. But if we want to get that gavel, we have to join with a coalition of like-minded people. That's what I mean when I say independents don't actually exist. Because the gavel is controlled by somebody in one or the other coalition. Either Coalition A controls the gavel or Coalition B controls the gavel. There has never been an independent controlling that gavel. It just doesn't happen. So that's one of the tricks they play on us. They try to get us to be independent and not join a coalition. Well, we have to join a coalition and we have to take control of it. Don't let them control you, you control them. You control it. Yeah, there's many reasons why there could be independent candidates on the ballot, and usually it's to split the other guy's vote. Because they understand if we don't, that it's all about getting that gavel. Yeah, that's another thing I've wondered about for many years is the whole idea of the royals. You know, the people that really think, you know, that they're above us. I think it was Jefferson that said that the royals believe that they were born booted and spurred, and the rest of us were born with saddles on our backs. You know, and so I guess human nature has never changed. Those people will always be with us.
Does the president have any official influence over that county?
None whatsoever. Absolutely none.
He's got political pressure.
All he can do is what they call the bully pulpit. He can get on TV and he can preach, but if the speaker, she doesn't have to give him the time of day.
But she has.
Well, they're both in the same coalition right now. If we could capture the gavel this November, we could at least put a stop to, you know, this train that's rolling over us. You know, now that don't mean we're going to get our country back or our liberty back. This might take us 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 cycles. You know, we're going to have to do this primary thing, and a general election thing, and a primary thing, and a general. You know, there's a different tactic for each part of the cycle. Just, you know, it's like in the primary, we got to pack our coalition with our people, and in the general election, we pack the Congress with our coalition so that we can get the gavel. Now, of course, it won't be perfect. Well, then we come back around to the primary. We put more of our folks, the Tea Party folks, into the central committees. And then in the general election, we just keep doing that. And we just continuously improve our position. That's what strategy means. Continuously improving your position. And the tactic is just how you go about doing it, that's all.